Good morning, you sleepy dork. Get the fuck up. I want to talk to you. Crap. I didn't know Sam was sleeping. I guess we care about his sleep. Sam? Is Carrie awake? Oh, I guess we don't need Sam. Get Carrie! I want to talk to her. Girl to girl. You know, that girl power. Yeah, girl to girl conversation. She's my bestie, yo.
Dude, why are you calling?
Just put her on the phone. God fucking damn it. I want to talk to my bestie.
Sam, you dork. Give me the phone. I know it's her.
Ooh, yes. Please steal the phone from him. I want to talk to you, my bestie.
Forward deep within, I can't go through it alone, and I won't leave you on your own. I stand before you now and promise you I am not afraid. I will fight and guide the way. We will rise again to glory then, soar into the sky. If you stop and see, then you just might believe.
Sup guys, the name's Jordan Dragnil and welcome back to Seduce Me 2, the Demon War. So, this is it. We are going to start James's route, which is pretty awesome. We only got Sam and James left. Hopefully I can finish before I go on my vacation, and when I come back, hopefully I can start a new game, whether I find it on the internet or you recommend one to me. Please recommend one to me. Alright, anyways, without further ado, let's start James's route.
Oh,
Yes, I have read the first one.
Oh, you do know this is James's route, right? You know, the eldest incubus.
He's also a gentleman, but also a kinky one. Yes, I know.
Oh, awesome! All right then. James is pretty cool, huh? It's the glasses, isn't it? You can tell me.
Well, I wear glasses. Excuse me. I wear glasses too, so whatever.
Anyway, I have one last question for you. Some people like hearing the trigger warnings before they start games, while others don't really care and just want to play. It's cool either way, but do you want to know about some of the content listed in the game?
For the viewers, yes.
No problem. It's my pleasure. Well, this game is recommended for players ages 18 and up. Trigger warnings include suicide, war, torture, mentions of rape, and a large amount of violence and sexual content. Don't worry though, any sex scene choice you encounter is completely up to you. You can play this game without needing to go through the sex scenes and still get the good endings. Consent is important.
In this, we are going smut all the way. As I said a long while before, that we are going to do all the smut scenes for all of the guys, excluding James. Gotta do it, you know?
I think that should be everything. All right. Phew, that took a while.
You forgot something.
Huh? What did I forget?
You forgot about the disclaimer.
Oh, crap! Oh, how could I have forgotten about that?
It's fine, I'll take care of it. This game was produced by Michaela Laws using the Ren'Py visual novel engine. We truly hope you enjoy this story.
Thanks, Diana. Now, don't you have a war to go fight?
I do. I just wanted to make sure everything was in order before the story began. I'll take my leave now.
Thanks, Di.
Do not call me Die.
Anyway, we really do hope you like the story. Have fun! See you at the end.
See you at the end, Kay.
Quinn anam avest et demon habnes.
I wish to set a stone destiny,
Gudere enim sortem monem quidni.
because the fate of the abyssal plains is in the hands of the wrong man. I must set things right.
Verum dicis, sed hoc descere, quiddium postulas.
I come bearing my life force as the price. Take as much as you desire, as long as my request is fulfilled.
Quod si acceperimus sea omnia,
Then, that is the price, as long as you set the stone destiny.
Well,
loqui fatum.
Stone Destiny. Who has their Stone Destiny set? I wonder who it could be. My name is Rena. Duh. I'd almost forgotten it. I clung to it by a single thread, knowing that if I let go, I'd be lost in a dark void, never to return. Why? Why was I so worried about my name? Well, it was the only claim I had to reality, especially when I was behind bars. What? For some reason, I was in a cell. I didn't know why. I didn't know how I got here. All I knew was that I was in it, and I was chained to a wall by shackles on my ankles. I didn't want to accept the bars as real. I didn't want to be in a cell. I didn't want to smell the dank stench of blood and sweat emanating from all around me. But I had no choice in the matter. No matter how many times I examined my surroundings, they remained the same. I was in a cell in a dimly lit stone dungeon. The walls were unfriendly, and the shackles around my ankles provided no comfort. The rags I was forced to wear barely fit, and I felt filthy. Why was I here? I didn't have the answer. All I knew was that I was trapped. I could hear quiet sobbing and muffled screaming from further down the passageway I was in. They reverberated from down the hall, and I knew that they must have come from fellow prisoners or the condemned. I, however, only had one neighbor. In the cell beside me sat a figure wrapped in a dark purple cloak. The top of the figure's head was shrouded by both the shadows in their cell and the hood that covered their face. They never spoke, they never moved. Were they dead? I watched them closely for some time, but I never saw their body inhale, exhale, or show any other sign of life. I didn't wish to think on it further, so I turned my head away. What was happening? I opened my mouth to shout, hoping that maybe someone would hear me and give me some sort of clue as to what was going on. As I tried to command my voice to speak, however, the sound of a large door opening echoed through the dungeon. I turned my head towards the direction of the sound and watched as the hall slowly began to brighten, like there was a torch moving towards my cell. I stared wide-eyed at what was approaching. Moving toward my cell was a man I recognized, one that had been close to my heart and now had a look of cold disdain in his eyes. My chest pounded at his name reverberated in my head. James. What? No! 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 No. James, you're scaring me now. He was still in his human form, but his voice vibrated with demonic echoes and waves, sending shivers down my spine. His tone was cold and unfeeling, as if I was not someone he loved, but someone he despised with every ounce of his being. No!
You still live. I'm surprised.
You can hear my heart cracking. Diana? Suddenly, from the cell beside me, the cowled figure jumped up and slammed into the bars, gripping them as they snarled at James. I stared, now able to see who had been hidden by the cloak.
You piece of filth! How can you dare show your face again?
Diana? James seemed unfazed as he stepped towards Diana's cage and leaned in, almost nose to nose with her.
And you live too. How resilient you both are.
Shivers! Shivers. I can't. Kudos to Bradley Gareth for giving me shivers down my spine. That is what I call excellent voice acting.
We're not so weak as to break under your chains, traitor. After all, unlike you, I carry pure Lilith blood in my veins. In that human, the one you love, is more powerful than your pathetic mind can fathom.
What was Diana talking about? Why was James acting like this? I opened my mouth to speak, but felt something hold back my voice. It was as if a vice had been tightened over my vocal cords and denied them any chance to create sound in my throat. James smirked and gripped Diana's chin, making her snarl louder.
Anyone can be broken. It just takes time and patience, both of which I have in abundance.
My heart.
Fucking monk.
James tightened his grip on her chin, digging his fingers into her jaw. Diana could only wince and glare at the one holding her. I felt fear run through my body as his lips curved even more into a devilish smirk. How could he look so evil?
Be patient, woman. You'll have your turn soon enough.
Oh my god, what is he talking about? As James turned his gaze to me, I felt my body suddenly heat up. Is he enthralling me against my will? Hey! Come on, man, that's not cool. His eyes were glowing an almost sickly golden yellow as he stared into my soul and ignited my core with heat and desire. You're doing it against my will. Please don't do this, James. I loved you. Come on. Come on. I felt dizzy and weak, my mouth falling open to allow a silent sigh escape from my lips. What was happening? Oh my god. No, please. James released Diana and walked to the door of my cell, quickly manipulating the lock to open it. As the door opened, I felt myself crawl backwards towards the back of the cell, suddenly afraid of the demon who was approaching. Yeah, I would have done the same. At the same time, I felt uncanny and unnatural elation from the man approaching me with a smirk that tore at my heart.
Well, time to dine.
Please don't put it that way! Please! My heart! My brain, my heart. Mostly my heart. I can't!
Don't you fucking touch her!
Before I knew it, Diana pressed her body against the bars that divided our cells and grabbed James's shoulder, digging her nails into it. Diana, save me!
You little...
No! In retaliation, James swung his arm toward Diana and formed a familiar pistol in his hand. Within moments, he aimed and fired. Diana, no! You were my only hope! I am scared for my life. Can I run now? I could only watch as Diana jumped back and held her chest, blood oozing from between her fingers onto the ground. She stared at James in both pain and surprise before crumpling to the floor and exhaling the last breath she would ever take. No! My mind was caught in a frenzy of emotions. While I felt shocked, terrified, and mortified at what had happened, my mind continued to dance in the desirable waves that ran through my body. Why couldn't I control myself? The pistol in James's hand disappeared as he let out a sneer of irritation.
Damn it!
James then looked back at me, towering over me as I both cowered in fear and melted against the back of my wall. Against the back wall of my cell.
Looks like you'll have to give me twice the amount of energy from now on.
No. No. I do not consent. No. 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 As James began to step towards me, I felt hot tears run down my cheeks while I panted like a dog in heat. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell him to not to hurt me. My voice began to press against the vice holding it, wanting to explode out. James' shadow consumed me, and I let out a scream. Then, I woke up. I woke up! It was a dream! Thank God! My heart, my soul. Ah! I shot up in my bed, panting wildly as my heart pounded hard against my ribcage. I grabbed my hand over my chest, feeling my pulse beating underneath the skin in a frantic rhythm in time with my hastened breath. I heard the faint echo of my scream bounce through the room as I let reality sink in. It was a dream, and I was awake now. Everything was okay. Everything was...
Love?
Called my name. Aw. My heart froze, and I felt my body tense up at the sound of James's voice beside me. My heated cheeks reminded me of the tears I had shed in the dream, and who had caused them. Ah, James, and he's shirtless. What the fuck, man? What the fuck? I had a bad dream, and you were the villain in it, and then I wake up to see you shirtless. This is not helping. James, this is not helping. I shot my head to the side to see James, the man whom I loved, but also the man who terrified me, looking at me with a face painted with concern and worry.
Love, are you okay?
Get away from me! I couldn't control myself as I quickly rolled out of bed and pressed myself back against the far wall, staring at him in absolute terror. James only stared back at me, still shocked and now troubled. He didn't move, most likely not wanting to frighten me further. This breaks my heart, but at the same time, get away from me. Images of the dream I had began to replay in my head, replacing the James in bed with the James that towered over me in the dark jail cell. My body shook violently from the memory, but soon my logic began to break the images apart, leaving me with the sight of James still in bed, staring at me. My thoughts slowly melted, and I felt myself start to cry once again. This time, my heart began to ache as I realized whom I had yelled at. I lurched forward and practically jumped at James, who opened his arms wide-eyed and wrapped them in me as I landed against his chest. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Shh. There's nothing to be sorry about. It was only a nightmare. I'm right here.
James held me close to him as I began to cry into his shoulder. I continued to apologize to him, whimpering and sobbing like a child as the fear from the nightmare slowly began to fade away. James's hand simply ran over my head and hair, trying to calm me down. It had felt so real, and yet I knew it couldn't have been. James was right here, protecting me and comforting me, proving the love he had for me. He would never hurt me. Ever. Eventually, I was able to calm down, and I looked up at the man holding me as he gently smiled down at me.
Are you all right?
I nodded, earning a small squeeze of his arms around me. I naturally cuddled closer to his body, desiring more of his warmth. What time is it? James gently hugged me tighter to his body as he looked over to his nightstand at his phone, which was docked in a fancy speaker charger.
It's 3:40 a.m.
Ah, it's too early for me. Or that could be the time I go to bed. I don't know. It's up to you. Nah, I'm joking. I'll be asleep. We still had a few hours before our alarms were set to wake us. Crap. Why did I have to have a nightmare and wake both of us up? I gripped James's shoulders and looked up at him apologetically. I'm sorry. I know you need your sleep.
Please don't worry about it. My beautiful fiancé is much more important to me than sleep.
Aww, that's adorable. This is so cute. As he said fiancé, I couldn't help but feel my face heat up, letting a blush run along my cheeks. It was true. I was his fiancé. He had asked me to marry him a couple of months ago, and I had accepted his proposal, wanting to be his wife. Yeah, you remember that proposal in the first game? It was all nice and warm and all that. Just thinking about the idea of being with him forever made the imaginary butterflies in my stomach dance around happily and flutter their wings against my heart. It was a dream come true. His love and warmth assured me that my nightmare was just that. He was my wonderful husband-to-be, and I was going to be his wife. My body couldn't help but shiver in happiness. James caught the shiver and gently ran his hands up and down my arms.
Are you feeling cold?
No, you just make me happy. That's all. As I leaned up and kissed James's cheek, he smiled and kissed mine in return. His warm lips sent another euphoric shiver down my spine, and I felt joy run through my veins. I truly loved James. It wasn't long, however, before I felt something gently brush against my hip. Someone's horny. I looked down as James cleared his throat in embarrassment, raising an eyebrow as well as growing a blush on my face. I looked up at my fiancé as he looked away from me, his face almost red as a tomato. Aw, that would be cute to see.
I'm sorry, I can't exactly control my excitement when you say things like that.
Oh, we get to choose. Going for the smut. Gonna kiss him passionately. Not just kiss him passionately. Warning you right now, smut coming along. If you don't want to see it, I'm giving you 3 seconds to skip. 3, 2, 1. You still with me? Alright then, let's go. James didn't have to use his powers to light a fire in me. Wow. I'm just gonna not. I gently tilted my head and kissed him, capturing his lips with mine lovingly. I felt my body slowly heat up, softly and tenderly to make sure not to scare me. His enthrallment over me became a natural part of our lovemaking. It not only helped him gain energy, but it made the pleasure of our sex practically 10 times more powerful. As I moaned against his lips, James gently ran his hands down my back and over my rear, making me slightly jump in surprise at the feel. As he gripped it, I let out another hot moan, and James smiled and chuckled quietly against my lips. I stared at the ceiling, lusting for James, as he pulled away from the kiss and began to kiss over my neck. I absolutely needed this man, and I needed him now. My body pressed against his and forced him back onto the bed, allowing me to be on top and be in control. Ooh, we're gonna be dominant over James, even though he's the dominant one in this relationship, because he loves that. James stared up at me, still gripping onto my ass and gently massaging each cheek with his fingers with a smirk. We both knew that he was always in control whenever we made love. However, my rebellious attempts at being top often spurred him on to be that much rougher in our play. It was like a game. Still, I like to think that I tried valiantly and not in vain. I moved my hands back and took his off of me, lacing our fingers together and pinning them to the bed beside his head. They didn't fight back against my hold, but James's face continued to intimidate me with a playful smirk and a dominant gaze. I gently leaned down and captured his lips again, grinding my hips against him and showing him the heat and desire I was feeling for him. His hands tightened around mine, and I felt him gently grind back up into me and letting his own desire rub against mine. My body forced me to pull my lips away, making me bite my lower lip in pleasure at the grind, before suddenly feeling myself being flipped over on the bed with James smirking over me. Well, shit, things took a drastic turn. But I like that. Dominant men. I didn't care. I wanted him to take me in whatever position we ended up in. Wrapping my legs around his waist, I pulled James close and leaned my head up, brushing my lips against his. What are you waiting for? Take me.
As you wish.
I couldn't recognize my own voice in that. What the fuck, man? Within mere moments, we went from grinding each other to moaning each other's name as we made passionate love. Our clothes were thrown about the room, but we didn't give a damn. We were busy. Every moment pushed moans and gasps from my lips, building towards a beautiful high as I moved against him and made him feel the same. Our sex wasn't just to feel pleasure. It was our bodies melding and moving together in perfect harmony, with each moan and professing our love for each other. There wasn't a single moment of silence between us, letting our love echo through the room. As we were finally eclipsed in ecstasy for each other, we held each other tightly, not wanting to let go of one another. James had pulled up our covers over our bodies and had made his chest my pillow. James ran his hands through my hair, his heated and worn-out breath matching mine, as we both fell back into the darkness of sleep. The nightmare didn't return. I slept peacefully within James's arms as if nothing else mattered in the world except for me and him. The morning was kind, James and I sweetly awakening before our alarms. Oddly, I felt well rested and ready for the day ahead. As I looked at James, who was still holding me, he opened his eyes slowly and smiled down at me.
Good morning. Did you sleep better?
I nodded, causing him to chuckle and kiss my forehead. My own lips curled up into a smile as his lips touched my skin. I hugged him tighter, burying my head in his chest. Do we have to get up?
Unfortunately, we do. You have to organize more wedding arrangements, and I have to go to work.
have to. I don't want you to. Stay in bed with me all day. Please, James.
Yes, I do. Now come on, let's go.
I couldn't help but whine. Ah. I wanted to stay with James in bed, but just a bit longer. However, since he was the CEO of the Anderson Toys Company, he had many obligations to attend to. Not even his future wife could pull him away from those duties. As James sat up, he took me up into his arms and kissed me lovingly, making a smile grow back onto my cheeks. I couldn't be more annoyed for long whenever he kissed me. I couldn't be annoyed. We went downstairs and had breakfast together before James went to work. It was always depressing whenever he left me alone in the house. However, he was a CEO and I was currently still in school getting a degree. Luckily for me, all of my courses were online, so I didn't have to leave the house to get the degree I wanted. Attending classes in pajamas was always better than having to put on regular clothes. Lucky! I wish I could go to college online, but no, I gotta go to college in an actual campus. No, I'm not actually going to dorm there. I'm gonna stay at home. Because I suit better here. You know, in the comfort of my own home. I'm an introvert. I stretched and yawned, still slightly tired from waking up in the middle of the night. As I thought about that moment, I couldn't stop images of my nightmare flashing through my mind. Quickly, I shook my head. Nope. It was a stupid dream. No. Before that night, I had wonderful dreams of James and I preparing the wedding and eventually seeing each other at the church. He hadn't seen my dress, despite trying to, so he'd be stunned and I would be blushing and smiling from ear to ear. That one nightmare, however, worried me. What if it was an omen? A sign? I wrapped my arms around myself, feeling a cold wave of nerves rush against my skin. My first instinct was to call Naomi or Suzu just to vent about it and get it out of my system. But if there was something supernatural at work, they wouldn't understand. Closing my eyes, I made a decision. I took my phone out of my pocket and dialed a number onto my phone without looking at it before bringing it up to my ear. The other line rang a couple of times before I heard a voice answer at last.
Hello?
Sam! Good morning, you sleepy dork! Get the fuck up, I want to talk to you. Crap, I didn't know Sam was sleeping. I guess we care about his sleep. Sam? Is Carrie awake? Oh, I guess we don't need Sam. Get Carrie! I want to talk to her, girl to girl. You know, that girl power. Yeah, girl to girl conversation. She's my bestie, yo.
Dude, why are you calling?
Just put her on the phone. God fucking damn it. I want to talk to my bestie.
Sam, you dork. Give me the phone. I know it's her.
Oh, yes. Please steal the phone from him. I want to talk to you, my bestie.
Doofus, calm down.
Mine. Haha. Hello?
Haha, I smiled. Carrie was Sam's wife. Yup, I said it. Wife. Never thought Sam would get a wife, huh? Despite his brute demeanor and all that crap. They had been married for almost a year, and despite sounding like they were always bickering half the time, they truly loved each other. Sam had met her while investigating a haunted house. She had been there as an architectural consultant, and they clicked as soon as they both left. What was even more surprising about their relationship, however, was that Carrie knew what he was before he even confessed it to her. The thing that makes me sad that Sam's route is canon is that I never get to meet Carrie, and I never get to be besties with her. I mean, to be honest, in my opinion, Carrie is bestie material. So I would be happy to have her as my friend, especially since she's a witch. And I'm just like, that's the only thing that I'm sad about since the Sam route is canon. Besides the Eric route not being canon. I'm still sad about that. Wah. Apparently, she was a witch. See? A person who had been granted permission to know about magic and otherworldly creatures by the angels and was gifted with both demon and holy magic. I only got to know about otherworldly creatures because I was in a relationship with one and was marrying him. Hey, Carrie, are you free right now?
Huh? Well, I kinda just got out of bed, but let me check my schedule, okay? Give me a sec.
I heard Carrie climb over Sam at one point, making him swear at her before he groaned in defeat at the situation. That's something I would do too. After a couple of book flips from the other line, Carrie finally cheered.
I don't have anything scheduled for work today, so I'm all free. What do you need? Wedding advice?
No, not that. Mind coming over? I kind of want to ask you something.
Sure thing. Sam's got work today. It'll just be me. I'll even bring some pizza and stuff so we can have a fun girls' lunch. What do you say?
This is why she's bestie material. Bring in my first love. Pizza. Yes. Carrie, you are still bestie material. Why couldn't you and I be besties in the Sam Cannon route? Why? Oh well. Sounds great. See you soon. The phone call ended and I let out a sigh. This would be good for me. Carrie might be able to help clear things up. I decided to clean as I waited. The mansion was huge after all, and it never stopped collecting dust. Soon enough, however, Carrie came by with 2 pizza boxes in one hand and a large bottle of pop in the other. Yes, I couldn't help but feel my stomach gurgle at the delicious smell. She brought deep dish pizza. Yum! We settled into my room and made my bed into our picnic area. We laid out a blanket so we didn't get crumbs on the bed itself, but we liked our makeshift eating spot.
So, what's going on? Are you having premarital trouble?
No, it's not about our marriage. Well, Carrie tilted her head at me, wondering what was the matter. I began to doubt myself. Should I tell her about the nightmare? Maybe it really was just a bad dream and I was overthinking it. I closed my eyes, thinking about what to say. Eventually, I finally spoke up. I'm second guessing getting a degree. I had a nightmare last night. We are going to tell Carrie the truth. This is a girl-to-girl moment. You know, bestie to bestie. We're besties, yo. I need to tell her the truth. I had a nightmare last night.
A nightmare? Was it really bad?
I nodded, remembering how horrified I was in the nightmare and visibly shivering at the memory. Carrie frowned and poured me a glass of pop.
Maybe I should have brought alcohol.
You should have. Carrie, you should have. Should have. I would have drank it anyway. Oh no, it wasn't that terrible, I swear. I rubbed the back of my neck. I had to relax. It was a nightmare, nothing real. I should have been able to talk about it. I sighed and looked up at Carrie. It was about James. He was holding me in a jail cell. Wasn't at the wedding and left me at the altar. No, we're telling her the truth. He was holding me in a jail cell. Carrie stared wide-eyed at me, unsure of what to say. I continued. He looked cold and evil. Diana was there, too.
Diana? The succubus that tried to take the boys away?
Yeah, she was in the cell next to me, but for some reason, it seemed like she was trying to protect me.
Protect you? How?
My mind instantly replayed the nightmare, flashing to when Diana gripped James's shoulder and tried to pull him away from me. I couldn't help my body from wincing at the memory of her being shot by his gun. He came into my cell. He enthralled me, and Diana shouted at him to leave me alone. Then Carrie reached over and placed her hand on my shoulder, making me lower my head. It was strange to think about, Diana protecting me. Yet, I could feel the anger in her voice when James tried to approach me. She truly sounded like she had wanted to protect me. He shot her with his demon gun, and when she died, he came after me.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry.
It may not have been real, but my body couldn't help but quake in fear when recalling the nightmare. I shook my head and looked at Carrie, needing to know what was going on. Do you think this is an omen? This nightmare can't just be a dream. Carrie ran her hands through her hair and stared at the blanket beneath us. She bit her lower lip as she contemplated, which made me worried.
You said a jail cell?
Yeah, it was in a stone dungeon.
Like in a medieval castle?
Yeah. Carrie shook her head again and ran her hands through her hair once more before looking up at me.
I don't know if this is connected with that dream, but I've heard rumors about the abyssal plains being in utter chaos.
What? What do you mean?
I don't know what's happening exactly, but for the past 2 years, the demon world has been emitting some really bad energy. Even the angels are taking note of what's happening. They're even neglecting their duties to go to the demon world themselves.
That threw me off. According to Carrie, angels were extremely devoted to watching over the human world. They would never skimp duties to even think about the demon world. Carrie shook her head.
The only place I could imagine jail cells like that being used for prisoners is in the abyssal planes. But you and James are here in the human world, so it makes no sense.
Carrie abruptly moved from the bed and reached for her purse, digging through it and practically sticking her entire arm into it. I swore she was Mary Poppins the day I saw her do that the first time. I probably would have thought that too. Apparently, it was a demon-branded bag called the Endless Satchel, only found in the demon black market of the human world. It wasn't just a bag on the inside. It was a void. You could stuff anything in there and be able to pull it back out with ease as long as you pictured it in your mind. Carrie pulled out something wrapped in dark green silk. As she unfolded the cloth, she revealed a deck of cards. On the back of each card was a black pentagram with small, almost unreadable markings around it. On the faces, however, were different hand-painted images that helped me recognize it as a tarot deck. They were worn, but they still emitted a power that made a shiver run down my spine.
It's been a while since I've used this, but it might be able to shed some light on the situation.
I watched as Carrie held the deck against her chest and closed her eyes, muttering to herself. She then lifted the deck to her lips and kissed over the top card before shuffling it. The cards practically danced and glided between her fingers, as if they were alive when she shuffled them in her hands. Eventually, she stopped and the deck settled together in her grip. She gently drew 3 cards from the top of the deck, setting them face down in front of her, and placed the remainder of the deck on the nightstand. She flipped one over, revealing a wheel with multiple symbols on it. As I stared at the card, the wheel seemed to spin on the face of the card, making me slightly dizzy. It says Wheel of Fortune, so that's what the card is. Wheel of Fortune. Carrie mumbled to herself as she examined the card.
The Wheel of Fortune? Could this be about the demon world changing? No, it can't just be that. Someone changed something in the past and disturbed the fate of the abyssal planes.
Whoops! Yeah, you guys will understand later on in the story. I looked at the card, taking note of what Carrie said aloud. There were many things that I knew that I had personally changed. I wasn't destined to get the Anderson Toys Company. I met the boys and learned about magic, and I was going through a big change in my life with my upcoming marriage. Carrie moved her hand and flipped over another card, revealing a figure with a sword in one hand and a scale in the other. Staring at the card, I swore I heard angry whispers in the air around me. Let me see, what is that? Justice. Justice card. Okay.
Justice? What could this be about? Could the change in the past be something so big that it demands Justice's attention?
My mind began to replay every choice I made in my life and fast forward. My decision to let the boys stay, to defend the boys against mallets, to stand up to Diana. Everything rolled past my thoughts. Was one of those decisions one I shouldn't have made? One of them was that you shouldn't have let them stayed. You shouldn't have gotten close to James. Or any of the boys for that fact, I guess. I didn't get to think on it long as Carrie flipped over the third card. As it was revealed, both Carrie and I gasped.
The King of Swords? But that card is not supposed to look like that.
Oh shit. Hold on. Oh my god. No, it's not exactly what I'm thinking. It can't be. No. A king figure sat on a throne with a large sword in his hand, as if he was ready to attack the viewer. However, the card looked like a black and gold demon I recognized. James? The picture, despite being simple, was powerful enough to make a shudder run through my body at the sight. As we stared, however, the nightstand that held the remaining cards began to quake, forcing me and Carrie to look over in surprise.
What the?
The tarot cards, on their own, burst upwards and began to fly through the air frantically. The sounds of battle and war emanated from them and raged through the room. and Carrie quickly moved to shield my body with hers as she covered her ears. I covered mine as well, but that didn't stop the sounds of blood and clashing swords from digging into my senses. I could almost feel the heat and danger of the image of war that the sounds were painting against my skin. As the sound stopped, I looked up to see the cards float down onto us, now lifeless and all of them torn in half right down the middle. As they landed, however, I stared in shock at what I saw in each half card's face. Carrie looked up and gasped as well.
Impossible.
What? What? No, I'm not. Better view. No. No. No! On half of the cards, I saw a girl that had my hairstyle with a stream of tears running down her face, reaching out towards the torn edge. On the other hand, I saw a weeping boy with James's demon horns and a crown on his head. He was reaching back towards the tear that divided him from the other half of the card where the girl was. My heart practically stopped. Was this really happening? I couldn't believe my own eyes as I stared at the cards in front of me. My nightmare began to flash before my eyes, causing me to grip onto myself and shiver violently from the fear bubbling in my core. Carrie quickly grabbed a hold of me and hugged me to her.
Hey, shh. It's okay. It's okay. Sometimes the cards are wrong. This can't be right.
This is why she's my bestie. This is why I call her my bestie. How could I believe her? I was staring at multiple torn cards, showing me the exact same messages. I gripped to Carrie, feeling extreme fear and sadness run through my body.
Hey, look at me.
I looked up at Carrie. She gave me a small smile as she squeezed me gently in her hug.
Magic is fickle, okay? The cards aren't always correct. Fate can always be changed. Remember that.
We'll remember. I knew she was trying to make me feel better. I knew that there was something going on. However, as the thought of my marriage came up, I knew that I'd have to calm down eventually. They were cards and my marriage was still happening, regardless of what they said. I closed my eyes and slowly started to ignore the signs, the cards, and the nightmare in my head. This wouldn't help me and I had to prepare for my wedding. Carrie muttered an incantation under her breath and, when I opened my eyes, the cards had all disappeared. I hugged Carrie tighter, silently thanking her for removing them. I had to be stronger. I had to. As the day went on, I enlisted Carrie to help with the wedding arrangements. Surprisingly, we got a majority of the work needed done, so that gave us time to relax and watch a movie together before James returned from work. Wanting to leave us alone, Carrie left as soon as he came.
Hey, did everything go all right? I'm assuming Carrie helped.
Yep. Yes, she did. For some reason, I felt the need to hug him. I just needed to. Without warning, I walked over and wrapped my arms around James, laying my head against his chest.
Huh? Love?
Mm-hmm. As James wrapped his arms around me and kissed the top of my head, I smiled. He would be with me and I would be okay.
I love you.
I love you too. My heart felt at ease. Everything would be fine. Everything would be okay. James looked down at me, pulling away slightly to see my face with a smile.
So, what would you like for dinner? We can go out to eat, or we can stay at home and I can make something.
I held James's hands in mine, knowing that I wanted to just stay home with him. We had more than enough for the wedding, yes, but our time together was better spent alone together rather than at a restaurant. How about we order food instead? You just came back from work. Might as well relax. James chuckled softly before kissing my cheek, making me giggle softly.
As my wonderful bride wishes.
Aww, that's adorable. We ordered takeout and sat together in our room, once again making the bed a picnic area. We played a movie in the background, but our focus was on each other. He made himself comfy without a shirt. Okay. And I made myself comfy with my head against his shoulder.
So, is everything all right? I made sure the reception hall was taken care of on my way back, so that should be in order.
Oh, wow. Good, thank you. Yeah, everything's in order. We'll have a perfect wedding.
Was there anything you wanted to add to the wedding? It's not too late to include anything you like if you really want it.
No, I don't think so. I think everything we have is good. James nodded before continuing to eat. I, however, stopped and stared at James. I was really going to get married to him. It was strange to imagine that I was really about to swear my life to someone for all time. It was like a dream come true. Why would I ever let something stupid like a nightmare shake me from it? Screw the nightmare. I was going to live a dream. You go, girl. That's it. I gently moved my food to the nightstand and placed a hand under James's plate, making him stop to look up at me. I softly pulled it away from him, placing his food next to mine, before crawling over James and sitting over his lap. Promise me something?
Huh? Anything.
The picture is adorable. Okay, it's adorable. Promise to stay with me forever? It seemed like a simple and obvious promise, but I wanted to hear him profess it. James continued to look up at me, silently understanding what my need to hear it, and wrapped his arms around my body.
I promise to stay with you forever.
Until the end of time?
Until the end of time.
Yay! You can't break your promise to me. Ever.
I would never dream of it.
James moved a hand up and tenderly caressed my cheek, making me nuzzle into his hand and closed my eyes.
You're the one I want to spend my entire life with. I will give everything and more to you for as long as I possibly can as your husband.
Whew, another yawn came out. Sorry, guys. But James is sweet and adorable. He's such a gentleman. I felt tears slowly run down my cheeks, which were soon brushed away by James's thumb. I nuzzled further into James's hand and held his wrist, almost hugging his arm to my chest.
Is the nightmare you had last night bothering you?
I couldn't help but nod in reply, frowning and biting my lower lip. I didn't want it to bother me. It wasn't worth it. I knew that James would stay with me and would never hurt me. James gently wrapped his free arm across my back and pulled me against his chest, moving his head to nuzzle my other cheek comfortingly.
Do you want to tell me what happened, or will you be okay?
I moved to wrap my arms around James. I wasn't sure if I wanted to tell him at all. Tell him, girl! He's gonna be your husband! Might as well tell him everything. I gently pulled away from him to look into his eyes. I had to tell him. It was about him, after all. There's that, too. I was in a dungeon. I was there with Diana.
Diana? Did she try to hurt you?
No. Actually, she was trying to protect me.
From who?
You. James stared, surprised at me, but remained silent as I continued. You came in and enthralled me, but it wasn't like you usually do it. It was forceful, and I didn't want it, but I was under your control. Diana tried to stop you, but you shot her. Then you came for me. For some reason, a weight was lifted from my shoulders. It was a terrible dream, but James deserved to know. As I finished recounting the nightmare, James gently moved his hands up and cupped my face in them.
Thank you for telling me, and I'm sorry that you experienced that kind of nightmare. But I swear to you that I will never hurt you.
I let myself become lost in his amber eyes, believing every single word he said. I could feel the love and care in his voice, and his warm hands assured me that he would protect me from harm. I wrapped my arms once again around James and let my head rest on his shoulder as his arms encircled my form. I loved him, he loved me. We would protect and love each other forever. Soon enough, the wedding day had come. I had received many pre-wedding gifts from guests that couldn't come, but I knew many people would still be at the wedding, since James was the Anderson Toy Company CEO. I even got fun texts from Naomi, Suzu, and Carrie as they tried to tease me with pictures of James in his wedding tux. But I deleted them all without peeking. Oh, I wanted to see. I didn't want to see him yet. He didn't get to see my wedding dress, so I wanted to wait to see him in his tux. Alas, I had decided to dress alone at the mansion. The girls had offered to help, but I needed the time to myself. I had to reflect on the day ahead. I was about to be married. It was insane. I couldn't stop staring at myself in the mirror, dressed in the wedding dress of my dreams. Is this really happening? I knew the air wouldn't answer me, but I felt myself need to speak my thoughts aloud. I could hardly believe that I was about to walk out of the house and be someone's wife. James's wife. The thought of us together made me smile and close my eyes.
Talking to you.
A voice I didn't know sent shivers up and down my spine. Oh my god, no. I suddenly looked around, hearing the voice echo in the room.
Essa è bene. E la cuidem oltre baptizzare.
What? What was going on? Why was I hearing voices? This couldn't be happening. I held my head, trying to stop the sounds in case I was dreaming or imagining them.
Destinat. Nostre idee. Liebet la guidem fatta.
Stop! 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 I screamed at the voices, not knowing what they were saying, but wanting them to go away. What I didn't realize was that my screams let out some sort of spell that seemed to freeze the air around me. Everything was still and silent. I could feel, however, that the room around me was frozen in time.
I knew it. I knew it. That girl has demon magic.
Why? What the?
Then quit talking and let's take her.
No!
The Demon Lord will be so pleased.
Fuck the Demon Lord! I am not going back there! Ah, no! God damn it. Okay, so instead of exploring, I want to see. Let's stay in the room and see what happens. It was better to be safe than sorry. I fell back onto the bed and closed my eyes, contemplating taking a nap to make time go by faster. Staying in my room was the best option for me, both so that I wouldn't get lost and that I'd be okay in case the guards were on duty. I let out a small sigh before looking around the room. Was there anything I wanted to look at closer?
Excuse me.
Oh. Hi, Rabbit. Before I could find anything, I looked to the door towards the voice. Peeking in was the rabbit woman, cautiously remaining behind the door while looking at me.
Are you feeling okay?
Huh? Yeah, I am. Thank you. Please, come in. I trusted this woman, despite barely knowing her. She insisted in coming into this room, and she was one of Diana's comrades, so I felt that I could put my trust in her. The woman nodded before stepping into the room and closing the door behind her. She turned to me and stood by the door.
I'm assuming Diana told you about the situation.
Yeah, I'll be back home tonight. That's the hope anyway.
Yes. We sent our agents as soon as we knew what we had to gather. We're positive they will turn up before nightfall, and we'll be able to cast a gateway spell.
I nodded and let out a small sigh. It would be a long wait, but it'd be worth it if it worked. The woman, however, took a step forward.
May I ask you something?
I looked to the woman, slightly confused. Sure, go ahead. What is it?
Well,
I watched as the woman reached up and rubbed one of her ears, almost in nervousness. What was she nervous about? Finally, she spoke again, releasing her ear.
Would you mind if I asked you about the human world?
No, not at all. Just ask. Ask away. What do you want to ask? The human world? Why would she be curious about the human world? She was a demon that looked like an anthropomorphic rabbit. I can't read. What the hell is that word? Anyway, the woman hugged her large staff against her body as she shrugged.
How are things like in the human world? Is there equality amongst your races? I've only heard stories, but since you're a human yourself, you would know.
Nope, there is no equality, and we are suffering here in America with all the non-equality shit that's happening. And we might get a shitty president. Go figure. Whatever. My mind ran back to the social life of the human world. At least in America, we claim to be equal, but we had major prejudice amongst our races, whether we liked it or not. I found myself to be on neutral ground, not wishing to be extreme on either opinion, but knowing the difference between what was morally right and wrong. I looked at the woman and shook my head, making her eyes widen slightly. We're not exactly equal. I mean, we try, but we're pretty divided. However, it's only one of the many problems we face. The woman nodded before walking over and sitting down on the bed beside me.
I see. Are there major wars fought because of it?
In a way, we have marches and movements, but we at least try not to escalate it to war where I live. It's better to resolve things without violence.
That's smart. I hope that equality can be found in your world.
Aw, thanks, Rabbit. That's sweet of you. What about here? The woman shook her head, her smile turning a bit grim. I could tell that things were rough here, just from looking at her expression.
We have sort of a caste system here. What kind of demon you are determines what life you live. Demons of Lilith like Diana are usually royals and nobles, while animal demons like me are much, much lower in the ranks.
I could hear her anger and shame just from her voice alone. Were things really that bad here? That's horrible. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. That's why I joined the rebellion. We intend to make changes, make it better. I want to be part of that and help fix things.
There was a confidence in her words that didn't match the look in her eyes. She knew something was off in what she said, but she expressed it anyway as her reply to me. I didn't know whether or not to prod or keep silent. I wouldn't be here long, so I decided to keep my mouth shut. The woman shook her head out, as if she was scattering the thoughts from her mind, and looked at me.
So, you are getting married. You must be excited to get back with your family and soon-to-be partner.
Huh? Oh, yeah. I'm excited to go back. For a brief moment, I had nearly forgotten that I was getting married. My mind began to wander to the one who was waiting for me, making my heart ache. As I looked down at my lap, the rabbit woman looked down as well.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you upset. But you will be home soon.
I nodded. I shouldn't have let it get me down, but I really did miss being in the human world. I think anyone in my situation would understand, especially since I was a bride. I looked at my hand, seeing my engagement ring and imagining the wedding ring that was made for me replacing it. Soon enough, it would be on my finger and I would be able to continue living my life as normal. Pulling myself out of my thoughts. Out my thoughts. Okay, I looked at the woman as she stood and bowed to me.
Well, I should leave you be. I will bring food whenever it is ready, so that you don't starve.
Thank you. I appreciate it. With that, the woman left, leaving me alone in my room to wait. It's the boys! Again! My heart almost stopped. Fallen from the chair and landing on the table were the 5 incubi brothers. They were piled on top of one another, having come through one at a time. However, as the last brother landed, the boys fell to one side, toppling off of the table and landing on the floor. The rebels around me stared at the fallen pile of incubi, confused and surprised. As the tear in the air closed, the ogre man was the first to lower his sword.
What the hell?
Who are they?
Careful! They could be the Demon Lord's men!
No! The rebels looked at me as I stood up, Diana following and still protecting me, and I stared at the boys on the ground. They all looked dazed and a bit shell-shocked from having fallen twice in rapid succession. I almost couldn't believe it. There they were, right in front of me. My mind couldn't help but remember how I had first met them. They had all been on the floor of my mansion, unconscious and wounded. Now they were in front of me in the demon world. I know them. James! Hi, Eric. I'm just gonna visibly in my mind have you as mine while I'm physically doing James. Eric, don't worry, Eric. You will always be mine in my dreams. Okay. I stared at the one I was meant to marry, seeing him slowly shake his head and rise from the ground. They came to rescue me. He came to rescue me. My heart became overjoyed and full of warmth and happiness. I was going to go home. The question was, how? As the sight of the boys kept the demon's attention, a second chair opened above them, causing everyone to look up. 4 women dropped down from the chair and somehow managed to fall into the arms of the incubi behind James. Wow!
I gotcha!
Bestie Carrie!
Whoa, are you okay?
Adorable Twyla.
I gotcha, it's okay.
Lovely Norin. Shipping with Matthew OTP material. Eric!
Love, I've got you!
Irene. Stealing my berries from me. Ooh, I need to calm down a little bit. We're pursuing James. We already pursued Eric. We're pursuing James. Stick to James. Think about the kinkiness he will do. Okay, I'm focused. Let's go. I stared wide-eyed. Their wives came too? Dang, it's hot in here. I feel so... I'm sweating. I'm literally sweating. Oh, jeez. I watched as the boys and the girls finally planted themselves on the ground before looking around. As James spotted me, however, he quickly rushed over.
Love!
James! To my surprise, Diana quickly moved out of the way and allowing him to approach and wrap his arms around me. The feeling of his body against mine sent a shiver up my spine. He was really here. I instantly wrapped my arms around his body, burying my face in his shoulder and taking in his scent. His head gently nuzzled into my shoulder as James curled over to bring my body closer to him.
Thank God you're safe.
You came for me. I could barely believe it, but I did. The scent of his cologne and the texture of his clothing let me know that I wasn't dreaming. He came to find me. Now the question was, how would we both leave? James gently loosened his embrace and looked at Diana, who was standing by our side and watching. I couldn't see his expression, but Diana stared wide-eyed, almost in fear of James. Why? As James began to speak, I felt some sort of violent power change in the room. While Diana held dominance before the incubi had arrived, it was practically ripped from her as James claimed me once again in his arms.
Care to explain why my bride is here, Diana?
Your father.
I looked up at James to see him staring Diana down, as if he didn't believe her explanation. Tighten the hug. I tightened my hug around his chest, earning a soft squeeze from him in return, but he continued to glare at Diana.
And why have you not sent her back?
Again, your father.
I watched as James's eyes closed further, almost hiding his whiskey brown irises in an unimpressed and unconvinced glare.
As much as I despise my father, why do I have a hard time believing that?
From beside Diana, the spirit guard stepped up and crossed his spear across Diana's body in an act of protection. He seemed unfazed by James's glare and almost felt like he was challenging him from the power play, thrashing in the air. It was like James and Diana were opposing alphas, and the guard was a protective mate.
Believe what you will. My lady was about to send her back before you came.
It's true. James looked to the guard and visibly sized him up. The guard glared, tightening his grip on his spear, but remained beside his mistress. As James looked back to Diana, his hold on me tightened.
Go on.
Diana sighed softly and placed a hand on the guard's shoulder, looking at him, but the guard refused to turn himself or his spear away from me and James.
He cast a curse on your bride-to-be, barring her from leaving this world alive.
A curse?
Yes. She can't leave this world unless she dies, or until we kill the Demon Lord.
Jeez. I could feel James's arms tense around me. For some reason, the look in his eyes changed from anger to almost hopefulness. Was he hoping that we would be able to leave? I hoped so.
Now, I must ask that you recognize whose kindness you are testing.
Settle.
Ooh, it kind of glitched a little. Diana tightened her hand on her guard's shoulder, almost digging her nails into his jacket. However, her eyes remained on James, now submissive to his dominant stare on her.
We have been fighting him consistently and have successfully pinned him into a corner. Our next attack will be on the Demon Lord's castle, and it will be the final battle.
Succubus, if I may...
No, you may not.
Ooh, shot you down, Shadow! The lanky man stared wide-eyed at Diana, but she ignored him. Instead, she continued to stare up at James, unfazed at her harsh tone towards her companion. James eventually released me from his embrace and faced Diana and her guard, standing tall and almost looking down his nose at them.
And when do you plan to attack him?
With a nasty snarl, the larger demon male stepped forward and glared hard at James. I felt my body tense in reflex, but James continued to stand tall.
Why the fuck should we tell you?
Shut the fuck up, cause he wants to know, and he is the eldest incubus son, and he will bring you to your knees. Yeah, let me stop there.
1 week's time.
Everyone in the room shot their heads towards Diana, mostly in shock or surprise.
What? 1 week?
I looked at Diana, watching her unable to turn away from James's gaze. She wasn't entranced, but it seemed as if she wasn't able to even pull away from the gaze battle between them out of fear. The white top shifted into a long-sleeved, oversized tunic with a leather corset and vest, while the bottom part of the gown split and wrapped around my legs, forming into dark leggings. My shoes stretched into long knee-high boots.
Wow, that's so cool.
Thanks, Twyla! I blushed, getting used to the feel of the outfit. The corset wasn't tight, but it was still something new along with the rest of the garb. James, however, smiled down at me and kissed over my forehead.
We'll save the wedding dress for when we return.
Aw, thanks. Right.
Faye, Rabbit, you both should finish your preparations and head over to the Demon Lord's castle for the spell.
How are you going to get there?
I'll get us there, no problem. Just make sure we don't get stuck there or lost. No promises.
Sarah, make sure the job is done.
I shall, my lady.
Sarah, Faye, and Rabbit began to make their way out of the room as Diana turned to me and my group. As they left, Diana let out a small sigh.
I will take you to some rooms you may rest in.
Thank you, Diana. Diana merely nodded and led our group out of the room towards our new temporary rooms. And I am going to stop here for this episode. Whew, that was a little kind of a bumpy ride for the start of James's route. But we'll see what happens in the next video. So, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like to see more of my videos, then click subscribe. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video.